If I had bought Bitcoin in 2011, my portfolio today would be worth... Many of you watching this will know about the zero, the first, the second, and the third conditional. But did you also know that there are mixed conditionals too? Hello everybody, this is Jack from Fluency.com, and in this English lesson we're going to look at mixed conditionals. We're going to look at lots of examples so that you can understand how and when to use them. But first, let's talk about the conditionals that you probably already know. We're going to do this fairly quickly. If you want a full tutorial on conditionals, then check out the description. But the first one, the zero, is this. I get tired when I eat too much. I get tired when I eat too much. This is so true. If I have a lot to eat, I feel really tired. Now, the zero conditional is used to talk about things in general. Here is an example of the first conditional now. If it rains, we won't go to the party. The party is outside. The party is real. It is happening in the future. But if it rains, we won't go because we don't want to get wet. So the first conditional is used for real situations in the future. Let's now talk about hypothetical situations using the second and the third conditional. An example of the second conditional is this. I would do it if I had more time. I would do it if I had more time. So I don't have more time. Therefore, I'm not going to do it. But in a hypothetical situation, I would do it if I had more time. And the third conditional is similar to the second, but we're talking about hypothetical situations in the past. I would have done it if I had more time. I would have done it if I had more time. I didn't have time in the past, therefore I didn't do it. So now we know the zero, first, second, and third conditionals. Let's now talk about mixed conditionals. And to help me do that, here is a story. In 2011, when my wife and I moved to Asheville and I started teaching online, I had a little bit of money to invest, and I wanted to make my first investment. I had never invested in stocks or anything else before. So I started doing a little bit of research. I created a short list of 3 main options: the stock market, gold, and Bitcoin. If you don't know what Bitcoin is, it is this peer-to-peer digital currency which has gained a lot of attention recently. And I remember being on certain websites and researching it, trying to figure out exactly what this thing is. And I was almost ready to invest. But what put me off and what stopped me from doing it was that it just sounded so complicated. The website I was on talked about cold and hot wallets, online storage, the blockchain in general. So I didn't get any and I invested in something else instead. Now, here is the important part. If I had bought Bitcoin in 2011, my portfolio today would be worth $1.5 million. Yeah, but let's not talk about regrets and think about the money that I could have now. Instead, let's focus on the mixed conditional. Look at that sentence again. If I had bought Bitcoin in 2011, my portfolio would be worth $1.5 million today. What we're doing here is we're talking about a past hypothetical event and how that relates to a present hypothetical event. We use this when we want to talk about how something different in the past would affect the present today. Here is another example. If I hadn't met my wife in Ecuador, I wouldn't be living in America now. So I met my wife in Ecuador in 2007. She is American, and therefore we decided to move to America. But if I hadn't met my wife in Ecuador, I wouldn't be living in America today. Again, we're talking about how a hypothetical situation in the past would affect the present. And one more example. If he had listened during his English class, he would have a higher level now. If he had listened during his English class, he would have a higher level now. So this is quite advanced, and if you want to go back and listen to those examples again, I recommend you do so. I'll also leave them in the description and as the pinned comment. Let's now look at another type of mixed conditional. It's on your screen now. If I weren't going to that wedding tomorrow, I would have gone out last night. If I weren't going to that wedding tomorrow, I would have gone out last night. What do you see here? Well, the first clause talks about the future, and the second clause talks about the past. So, a hypothetical situation in the future can affect a hypothetical outcome in the past. Because I'm going to that wedding tomorrow, I decided not to go out last night. But if I weren't going to that wedding tomorrow, I would have gone out last night. There are other types of mixed conditionals which I'll talk about in a future video. But here is one last piece of advice. Don't force these mixed conditionals in conversations. And what I mean is, don't feel like you should use them because they are advanced English. Instead, know that they are used for very specific situations. Okay, now it is your turn. Leave some examples of conditionals below. Feel free to do this for 0, first, second, third, or any mixed conditional. But I just want you to practice a little bit. Oh, and here is one last example. If I had bought Bitcoin in 2011, I would have sold it a long time ago. Thank you for watching.